Chapter 6. Feeling the Breath of the Wind. Several days had passed since Adelina had settled in Mukhavka. The joy of her new friends, the funny little dog Jack and the playful kitten Star, knew no bounds. But one evening the girl reminded her father of his promise to take her to the neighboring village of Nahiryanka, where the famous Yahilnitsia stud farm was located. There, in the very heart of ancient lands, her long-cherished dream awaited her, a real horseback ride.
Daddy, do you remember?
Adelina reminded him with shining eyes.
You promised to show me the horses.
Her father smiled and nodded confidently.
Of course, sweetheart. Tomorrow we'll go.
The next morning, Grandpa's little van bounced cheerfully along the road, carrying Father, Adelina, and Yaroslav to Nahiryanka. Outside the windows unfolded familiar hills, green fields, and forests, and in the distance towered the old Yahilnitsia castle, which once belonged to the powerful Lanskeransky counts. Its walls still held the memory of ancient battles and the grand times when these lands belonged to noble families. It was the Lanskeransky family who had first begun breeding purebred horses here, and in time a farm arose that became renowned far beyond Ukraine. At this stud farm, racehorses were raised that won victories at prestigious exhibitions and competitions across Europe. Once the local hippodrome had thundered with competitions, with the gleam of saddles, the ringing of horseshoes, and loud applause. Now it had become a place for walks and lessons in horseback riding, yet in the air one could still feel the lingering glory of past triumphs. By the stables the guests were greeted by kind Uliana, the caretaker of the horses. Her gentle gaze, confident posture, together with the scout hat and the patches on her shirt sleeve, immediately revealed her as a member of Plast, the Ukrainian scouting organization, a young woman shaped by nature, discipline, and friendship with horses.
Today you will learn to feel the horses,
she said with a smile.
Because riding is not only about muscle strength, but also about friendship with the animal.
In the stable, they were welcomed by real beauties, bay, black, and dapple gray horses. Majestic and yet gentle, they calmly allowed themselves to be stroked. Uliana handed them brushes, and each began grooming their horse. Adelina chose a handsome bay stallion named Boutique. She carefully brushed his shiny coat, feeling how the horse lowered his head as if smiling back at her. Soon it was time to saddle up. Saddles, bridles, stirrups, to Adelina, all this seemed like magical armor for an adventure. And when she was given special riding pants, tall boots, and a helmet, she felt like a little horsewoman ready for a great journey. The first lessons took place in the courtyard. Uliana held the horse on a long lead, while Adelina carefully climbed into the saddle. Her heart pounded so loudly, it seemed everyone could hear it. But within a few minutes, the nervousness disappeared, replaced by a sense of freedom. The horse walked steadily in a circle, while the girl listened attentively to the advice: how to keep her back straight, how to find balance, how to feel the rhythm of movement, and how to guide Boutique with gentle motions. Father and Yaroslav also had their lessons, and soon the whole family was laughing, taking photos of each other in their equestrian outfits. Then it was time to head to the hippodrome. There, in the wide arena, Adelina already sat confidently in the saddle. First at a slow walk, then at a light trot, and now she felt like a true participant in real races. Her heart sang with happiness, her dream was coming true. But the greatest wonder lay ahead, a horseback ride through the picturesque surroundings. Uliana led the group, and the riders followed one after another, like a small caravan. The road first passed by an apple orchard where ripe cherries gleamed red among the green leaves. The riders paused to pick a handful of fruit right from the branch. Sweet juice ran down their lips, and Adelina laughed with joy. Nowhere in the world was there such a treat as warm cherries straight from the tree. The path then stretched along still green fields of wheat. The stalks swayed in the wind like a boundless sea, and among them flamed bright poppies, glowing like scattered embers. Adelina breathed in the scent of fresh earth, and her heart filled with gratitude for the beauty of the world. Soon they reached the forest.
This is the Zamchushcha area, part of the Galilea Forest Reserve,
explained Uliana.
It was planted back in the times of Count Lanskeransky to protect Yahilnitsia Castle from the Tatars. Today it's a unique forest, home not only to oaks, ashes, lindens, and beeches, but also exotic trees, black and Manchurian walnuts, Japanese larches, and silver firs. Many wild animals live here too: roe deer, foxes, badgers, wild boars, and even wolves.
And indeed, this forest carried a different silence, alive and magical at the same time. Ancient oaks and occasional pines stood like guardians, letting golden beams of sunlight filter through their crowns. Squirrels bustled in the branches, and birdsong rang like the music of an invisible orchestra. Sometimes they had to duck under branches or cross little streams that flowed into the Cherkaska River. Adelina noticed every detail: the soft carpet of moss, butterflies fluttering nearby, the smell of mushrooms and damp earth. It felt as though she had stepped into a fairy tale, with Boutique guiding her straight into the heart of forest mysteries. After about an hour, they rode out into a spacious clearing. There stood the beautiful old hunting lodge of the Lanskeransky family, Adelina. Majestic in the middle of the forest, it looked both mysterious and enchanting. Here, near the hunting lodge, they decided to rest. The horses were tied to a wooden railing by a trough filled with spring water. On the clearing, they spread out a cloth and unpacked sandwiches and treats. Uliana told the story of this place, of how the counts once hunted here, of the sound of hooves and gunshots echoing in the woods. Everyone listened with interest, capturing every moment in photos. After a short break, the riders set off back by another road. It led past fragrant mint-covered paths, green fields with poppies, tall hills, and steep slopes above the Cherkaska River. Returning to the stable, they found the sun already sinking toward the horizon. The horses were given water and fresh grass, while the riders took off their gear and changed. When everything was ready, Dad walked up to Uliana and shook her hand warmly.
Thank you for such an amazing journey and for your patient guidance,
he said. Adelina ran up to her as well and hugged her tightly.
This has been the best day of my life.
Uliana laughed, straightened her scout hat, and replied,
Come back anytime. Horses are always waiting for good friends.
Tired but happy, they set off by van toward their home in Mukhavka. On the way back, cheerful chatter filled the van. Everyone recalled funny moments, shared impressions, and flipped through the photos. Adelina glowed with joy and proudly exclaimed,
Didn't I tell you this would be an incredible story?
When they arrived home, Adelina was the first to jump out of the van and run into the yard. There, on the bench, Grandma and Grandpa were already waiting for her. Adelina threw her arms around them, hugging them tightly, and quickly began telling the story of the trip, showing dozens of photos. Pride and joy shone in their eyes. A little farther away, on the green grass, Jack and Star were resting. Seeing their mistress, they cheerfully ran to her, tails wagging. Adelina bent down, scooped them into her arms, and laughed, because even after the most magical adventures, the greatest happiness was waiting for her at home, beside those she loved. That evening she fell asleep with a smile on her face, feeling as if she was still riding through the ancient forest, flying into the wind and toward new adventures.